Wow. 14-year MGP finish in port casks. Where do I sign up? Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me today on the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. Also make sure you hit the like button, trying to do what we can to continue to build the channel. Today, I think I've got something very special, unique, that I think you're gonna wanna know a little bit about. So what exactly is this? So this is from Redwood Empire. This is the Haystack Needle. This is a 14-year MGP finished for 60 days in port cask barrels. So for me, in terms of what you get right away with that kind of age, what the barrels are that they're being finished in, already kind of classifies this as something I think is going to be a fairly special whiskey. So let's kind of dive into it a little bit more. So again, this is coming in at 110 proof or 55% ABV. Mash bill on this one's going to be 78% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley. It is age stated again on the bottle as 14 years. This just happens to be a single barrel, so we know it's going to be age stated as 14 years. MSRP on this is going to come in right around that $200 price point, but I think as you'll see as we kind of get into this, how truly special of a whiskey this really is at that kind of price point. So why don't we go ahead and kind of dive into the review, and we'll check out the color. So as you can see, I mean, with it being finished in port, I mean, you've got those really nice kind of deep mahogany red kind of hue color on that. Fantastic, fantastic color. And again, move the whiskey around in the glass. Fantastic oils, so something that you really like to see. Hopefully those oils will translate over to more flavor on the palate. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into the nose. Whew, big and bold, heavy, dark fruits, like right away. Oh man, those like raspberry, there's like a plum, nice, like really fresh strawberry on it. Again, rich, heavy, dark fruits. It smells rich, thick, viscous. Nice leather note there. And I would even say with the intensity of this, there's more of like a concentrated type of aspect to it. So you've got a lot of those dark, like chocolates, espresso, things like that. Oh man. The one thing I'll say is you're not losing the intensity of the aged bourbon that's there. You're still getting, like, first and foremost, like the nose of what you would smell walking into a rick house. So you never lose sight of it having some age on it and being kind of a rich, decadent bourbon. Really intense baking spices there on it as well. More along the lines, I'm picking up more of like a nutmeg. There's really kind of a nice, intense nutmeg note to it. Even a little bit of some pastry, like a doughy aspect. There's something about like a pie crust that's there. Maybe even a touch of mint on it as well. Here's something kind of interesting. I'll be very specific with this. This is more of like a fresh Mexican vanilla. I've gotten these bottles before, and there's just something about like that Mexican vanilla, that super rich, intense, like a kind of a very decadent vanilla note. All right, more importantly, let's see how this bad boy is going to taste. Cheers, guys. Wow. Unbelievable. I know that's not a great description right away, but what a incredible. Let me first start out with the texture. It's very oily, very kind of thick, viscous, so it's wanting to coat the mouth right away. I don't think I talk nearly enough about that aspect on a really nice whiskey, is that's really what's setting up, everything that everything that you're about ready to taste is if you've got the oils, if you've got the viscosity, if you've got just that texture that's there, it's setting up the kind of the full experience there. It's literally like a liquid rickhouse. Like I got on the nose, you never lose sight of the layered bourbon that's there. It's a very intense bourbon. You're still picking up that age characteristic, so you got a lot of those nice spices, really nice kind of sweet, rich oak on that. It's just so rich and creamy, coats the mouth extremely well. Again, those really intense, heavy, dark fruits. A lot of like kind of a chocolate covered raisin, plum, black raspberries. The fruit aspect on it is fantastic. Obviously coming from the age that it's been sitting in those port cask barrels. So it's not overdone. It's not like you're just tasting a huge amount of port wine. It feels like it's been pulled at just the right time so that you still have the layers of the fantastic, 14-year bourbon that's there, in addition to the port barrels that are really just helping to emphasize, kind of that aspect of this finished bourbon. I mean, it's a really, really incredible, whiskey. You've already got the limited, 14-year MGP, which there's not an awful lot of that around anymore. Kind of on top of the fact that it's finished in some really nice port casks for about 60 days. They really, really work well with each other on this kind of this blend here. I just can't emphasize enough how kind of separate or layered they are. You get still all that rich, intense flavors that you get from that aged bourbon, kind of compiled with the fact that you've got that nice port influence that's there as well. I guess kind of expanding upon that a little bit, the pie aspect of it kind of comes in a little bit. It's more of like the pastry notes are there, but it's like this mixed berry pie. So you get a lot of that pastry influence with the kind of either stewed or kind of cooked fruits with, all that sugar that's kind of in a pie. Not overly sweet. It's just done very well in terms of the finishing aspect, combined with, again, that really nice aged bourbon on this one. This is one that you definitely want to take your time with. I think as you sit down and just kind of enjoy it, as the whiskey kind of begins to open up a little bit, I think you'll probably pull out even more, flavors on this, which is what you really want in a really well-crafted, bourbon. So I think they've done a fantastic job with this. Great baking spice. Again, on the palate, you're picking up a little bit more of that nutmeg aspect that I was picking up on the nose. But still, again, the one thing I want to emphasize is you never lose sight of the great bourbon that's there. You're picking up still all of those traditional notes of a great bourbon, the sweet oak, the spice, a little bit of leather and tobacco, kind of combined with, again, that finishing of the port. It's just a very, very well done, bourbon. I mean, congrats to the guys at Don's Liquor and Wine, in California. They've really done another fantastic job, getting a barrel of this. So, I think if you transition over from all of that, it's long. I mean, you've got those dark, heavy fruits, the chocolates, the great spice, the sweet oak, all of that's there. The more I've talked, there's a little bit of mint aspect, the heavy, dark fruits, again, the berries, the pastry. It's just, again, I wish I had like, taste-o-vision or smell-o-vision, whatever you want to call it, because to try to necessarily explain the complexity of this, it can be difficult. You want to really emphasize the fact that the layers of this are really all there. So hopefully that all makes a little bit of sense. And here's what I'll say about this is that if you can find this, and again, I'll have a link in the description below to Don's Liquor and Wine, to buy the bottle if indeed it's something that you want to consider. I doubt this is going to be around very long. So when I post this video, if shortly thereafter there's not many around, I apologize. I think it's one that you want to definitely seek out. So there you have it. Hopefully, again, that helps a little bit. Again, this is from Redwood Empire, the Haystack Needle, 14-year MGP bourbon, finished in port cask barrels. not much I can say. I did do a review maybe about a year or so ago of something very similar. However, at the time, that was a 12-year bourbon finished in, again, port wine cask. Fantastic bourbon, you know, in its own right. This, I think, has just kind of stepped up the game a little bit to really show or showcase that 14-year bourbon that's there with that nice finishing aspect. Incredible bourbon. So there you have it. Hopefully, again, that helps a little bit. If you're one of the lucky ones and you're able to find it, congrats on that. And once you get this, come back. Let me know your thoughts on this. Leave a comment below. And, you know, is this something that you feel was worthy of picking up? I think it's going to be something that will definitely be worth, you know, picking up. So I want to say thank you so much for tuning into another one of my reviews. Thank you guys so much for all of the support. If you'd like to follow me, you can on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those places at My Bourbon Journey. If you'd like to help support the channel and become part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, where Jason and myself do single barrel picks, I'll have a link in the description below. And with that being said, remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.